welcome. We really appreciate you joining us. This is Vision Plus. I'm Bonnie Libhart, along with Emily Libhart. She's my daughter, or I'm her mother. And we're going to talk...
One or the other.
We're both, aren't we?
Right.
We're going to talk about family reunions and our influence on family reunions. Because summertime is a time when families get together, and when we get our family picture made, we always want to stand a certain way and sit a certain way. But mainly we want our
light to shine.
For them. Now, you just came back from visiting the family in Pennsylvania. Why don't you tell about the emotions that you went through with your grandmother and your uncles? And
well, I was on the airplane, and you know how when you're on an airplane, you can, when you're up in the sky, you can look down and see all the houses and the little teeny weeny cars. I always thought that was cute. It reminded me of the train stations that when we were little, you know, the little baby houses and the little baby trees around the train track. Anyway, I noticed when I was traveling at night, flying in the plane at night, I would look down, and we were so far up that the only thing that I could see, clearly see, were the buildings that were lit up, that had lights. I could see headlights on the cars way below. I couldn't see the car, but I could see the headlight. And a verse came to me, and it says, "You are the light of the world." You don't take the light and hide it under a bushel, but you put it on a stand so that it gives light to all the house. And that just kind of is what the Lord spoke to me as I was traveling back on the plane to Pennsylvania to see Dad's side of the family, is that I was going to be that light for that 1 week, that I would be that light that was set on a hill. And it really, you know, put the fear of God in me. You know, I was really thinking, oh, Lord, how am I going to be a light to these people, you know? And you just don't always know how to reach people. They grew up in
your own relatives. They're the most difficult ones.
And they're in the north. In Pennsylvania, it was 90 degrees. It was hotter there than it was here.
When you left.
And at night, I looked on they've got a little thermometer on the wall, or whatever you call it, barometer or whatever, and it was 90 degrees in there. But see, they didn't normally get that hot there, and they didn't have air conditioning. And so me, the fan, and the 90 degrees just did great.
Well, Tony's mother had fallen, she's in her 80s, as a lot of, and my mother had fallen in Arkansas. And you went.
Both grandmothers at the same time. One broke her back, one broke her leg.
My mother, your grandmother in Arkansas, and you went to visit the grandmother in Pennsylvania. But you'd made a decision. Because that you were going to do certain things.
That's right. See, I believe I just think the Bible presents it. When you surrender your life to God for full-time service, and which everybody should, it just seems like the first place to start would be in your own home, your own family, then your community, and then the world. Well, I went to your side of the family, and I went to my community, and I'm going to the world, but I kind of felt like I neglected Dad's side of the family. You know, I hadn't seen him in so many years, and it was a way for me to just go over there and just kind of share with them and let them know what the Lord's doing in my life, you know. I've had a lot of falls, I've done a lot of things and been through a lot, and, you know, I just kind of shared what was going on in my life, and they were kind of amazed that I was still hanging in there. They're like, you're doing pretty good, and they were real curious as to how I was keeping my attitude up and everything, and I just shared with them that it was the Lord and what He had done in my life, not my past, but what He was doing now in my future, you know.
You got to see your uncles. Tony has 5 brothers.
All brothers.
And their families.
Right.
And one of them is married with 2 boys also. I think in a line of 83 babies born in the Libhart family, Emily is the very first girl. 83 boys and finally a girl.
And 1 girl, oh boy.
And the different generations ahead.
Right.
But now, they have put Tony's mother in a nursing home. It's more like a place where you take rehabilitation. It's not exactly a nursing home, but tell me about your feelings with the brothers? Because that was a sad thing
Oh,
for the
yeah.
whole family.
Well,
And
what
she expects to come home as soon as she can
yeah,
walk
she's
again.
doing real good. She's in physical therapy, and every day she tries to take a couple of steps, and it's getting stronger.
She
and
had to have her
stronger.
hip replaced after breaking her hip, didn't
Right, right.
she? And
One of the highlights that I was there in the nursing home, there was a nurse, and she was just, I tell you, I knew when I first saw her that she loved God and the Lord with all. I knew she was saved. I knew she was a very strong Christian. And I found out later she was a missionary, actually, and she was there temporarily. And I just watched her as she would come in the room. And she would just, boy, she would change the beds. And no matter how much, some of the older people, a lot of times, they've been there for 8 and 10 and 12 years, and they kind of tend to complain and everything. But she would just, just be jack on the spot, ready to go, just whatever they had. She had patience, long-suffering, endurance. I told her the fruits in her life were humongous. I said, boy, I can't wait till my fruits get that big. But I noticed that all of my uncles, my grandmother, the whole family would comment, without knowing that she was a Christian, they would comment on, wow, that girl really works hard. She's something else, just raving about what a wonderful woman, this woman was. And it just kind of reminded me of, that's how we can touch people. That's how you can touch your family. That's how you can touch people. When you do what the Lord has called you to do, no matter what your job is, if you just do it with all your heart and do it with a good attitude,
as unto the Lord.
People see that, yeah. And they found out finally the last day that I was there, one of the other people that were visiting the other person in the nursing home said, they were commenting again on, what a wonderful girl this was and how she was just so faithful and diligent and had such a good attitude. The other lady said, oh yeah, she's a Christian. In fact, she's a missionary, and she's going to be leaving this Sunday to go back to Canada, to complete her mission or whatever. And they just kind of, looked at each other and said, wow, and what a testimony that was. That was almost more than I could do. I could tell them, and I could say, this is what the Lord is doing, but they saw her day by day, the fruits in her life. To me, that was just the most wonderful example. It was a shining example of how she was a light to those people. And I thanked her. I said, man, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. And if the Lord tells you to just speak about Him to my family, go for it, because they're ready. They know that they're going to believe and trust what you say. So I just thought it was really neat the way that the Lord moved.
I think you got ministered by her.
Oh, I did.
You could say yourself doing that
Yeah.
with whatever
Well,
job you had.
It's hard to minister. See, you got to keep in mind, my uncles, 2 of them, the 2 that I was trying to minister to and witness to the most, were in World War II. And one of them was actually in a Nazi, prison camp and was
prisoner of war.
tortured. How do you tell someone like that about Jesus? And maybe this is, I know I'm going to be ministering to people in Russia that were imprisoned for their faith. And maybe there's some kind of a parallel there. How do you minister to people like that? And it was just a good way for me to kind of get a
Now,
preview.
he listens to Christian music all the
Oh,
time.
yes, he does. He does.
And what did he say when he said people call on the Lord after it's too late?
I was telling him when he was taking me to the airport, I said, Bobby, you really, if you will really just give all of this to Jesus and give yourself to Jesus and just surrender all, God will see you through all this. I said, no matter what happens, if you'll just go ahead and just turn it over to Him, then He will just take you and pick you up and march you right through it. Now, it might not be easy, but you'll make it. And he looked at me and he said, he said, I wish everybody would feel that way. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know, he had these emotions inside. And he said, it's really sad when people, when things get rough, they'll say, oh, God, and turn to God. But what about when things are going smooth? And he just kind of blew me away. I said, wow, you're ministering to me. So.
You remember your grandmother as a person who
Yeah.
did cooking, made lots of food, all kinds of pies and cakes and cookies.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Can't you tell?
Now, how did you, tell me how you found her and how you felt about those things?
You mean
Her,
before?
well, when you saw her now.
Well, I don't know, she had the same personality and the same countenance, but she was just so weak. Just looked so fragile, I guess is the word for it, you know, and it was kind of eye-opening, you know, and I really did feel for her, and I really wanted to know that she knew Jesus, and I know in my heart that she does, you know. I asked her, you know, about Jesus, and she said if it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't have made it this far. So that just really put in my heart that it just kind of made me feel good, you know.
Did you, I know from seeing the clothes that you took with you that they were all very conservative clothes.
Right. Dad's side of the family is a very conservative, you know, easygoing, laid back, you know, sophisticated type of clan. Totally different from me.
Well, I'm not so sure they're different from you. It's just that
maybe the culture.
Well, yes, because they're more the sort of the Pennsylvania Dutch,
Reserved,
German type of reserved, and not as outgoing and vivacious as people sometimes tend to be in the South. They also dress more conservatively.
Yes.
They're not as many times that people, any of the people there wear maybe the shorts.
And as a lifestyle, they don't even, I mean, I just looked because I noticed, and I only saw one woman wearing makeup, and it wasn't because they were, you know, Christians or anything. It was just their culture. They're just real. They wear, you know, just real monotone type of, you know, no makeup, don't really dress up. Hey, they can have a $50,000 painting on their wall, but they have on a, you know, old jean skirt and a T-shirt. You know, it's just the way they are, you know.
Well, I think
Just
that's
don't worry
something
about
that
those.
we could be aware of when we go to be with our family, that the way we dress is another ministry to them.
Oh, yes.
Because if you wear shorts that are too short, or if you wear your jeans are too tight.
Or some, like my grandmother on the other side has never been accustomed to wearing jeans or women wearing pants. And again, it's not a religious thing, it's a cultural thing. And that would offend her, and you just kind of need to be careful, you know.
But even if it wouldn't offend them that you wore those, if you're modest in your apparel when you're around family, because let me say it a different way. If you're immodest in your apparel, in what, you know, wearing short shorts and clinging clothes, then even you could say you're a Christian and you could say all the things, but it would not compute in their brain and say, yeah, well, you don't, they might not say these words.
And even if they didn't mind, it's a real small town, and neighbors, you know, they just tend to talk a lot. And maybe even if it didn't bug them, it might have bugged the person that saw me get in the car to, you know, that when they were driving me to the airport. You know, what if they came back with a remark to him, and, you know, what does the guy say? You know, it could be a challenging situation.
Tell me your feelings about getting to know your dad from staying in his mother's home. And the two boys are in their 60s and they're not married. They've never married. They're bachelors. The family has a family business that they've had since 1919. The family business started. It's in the same location. The same family owns it. It's never changed hands. They're running the business just the same. It's an automobile repair business, and they put in glass and in automobiles and paint cars, I think, and they change engines, and I don't know what all of it. I know during the war they had like the dealerships, Ford dealership, and in fact, since they were the only dealership in it.
I found out, I find out every time I go, I find out all these fascinating things. Henry Ford personally came down and asked my grandfather, your father-in-law, to work at his plant and to be one of the people that helped him start up the Ford. And I just thought that was outstanding. But they just don't do that. They clan together, and they stick together as a family. You know, they would never think of moving out of that house and taking another job somewhere. That's just out of their vocabulary. And it's just, it was almost like a culture shock, you know, to go there.
Your daddy was born in that house.
I know, I can tell now.
He's past the half-century mark. We won't say how far, but
a few years.
And, so to have a person that there's stability though in that.
Oh,
being
yes,
born in the
that's
same
right.
house, that the family still has that house.
The same house, same business, same people.
They can't really understand how we change, you know, have lived. In fact, they even remarked about the fact that you lived in one state 10 years and another state 10 years.
They almost were afraid to ask, now, what are you guys doing now? Because it
to
changes
them,
every time.
We might, you know, the national average for moving for families is like
Right.
4.5 years in a
Right.
location moved. That's the national, which means some people are like us, move 26 times. But when you're in the Marine Corps and other things, you do move a lot. But we did live, even though we lived in one state, Texas, for almost 10 years, and Arkansas almost 10 years, and the other 10 years spent between Alabama is only a year, but in Pennsylvania and Ohio and North Carolina. But they just think that is like a nomadic life. That's
Right. No
absolutely-
roots.
Yeah, no roots. You know, even though you're in town, and some people think that 10 years is a long time to be in one state, especially people here in Huntsville, where they are, you know, used to being.
Transitory type, yeah.
Well, but if you're in the armed forces, you're going to be moved around, and certain other kinds of jobs. IBM used to have the title, "I've been moved." You know, the IBM stood for "I've been moved." So, but to see a family that's lived in the same house, the same town, since 1919.
I got a chance. I asked the Lord where to go to church because I wanted to go to church Sunday morning, and I ended up going to.
You didn't have a car, so
didn't
you had
have a
to
car,
walk
so I.
to church.
Well, everything is a block. There's only 4 blocks in the whole
Well,
town.
maybe 8 blocks.
Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, I walked out the
3,500
door
people.
and I said, okay, Lord, where should I go to church? Well, I just walked a couple blocks down and I saw this Marietta Chapel, community chapel, and it was ended up being a Mennonite church. And I'd seen them when I grew up in Pennsylvania, but I'd never, you know, understood what a Mennonite church was. Well, I walked in, they were singing praise songs. The Holy Spirit was moving in the service, and I flipped out. And I talked to the pastor. I gave him all my relatives' names and numbers, told him
no.
told him everything. And I told the pastor, I said, okay, look, I'll lay the foundation, you bring them in. So we had a deal going there. But it was really interesting. When I talked to the pastor, he was 2 blocks from their house, and he said, oh, I vaguely remember the name Libhart.
And they lived there since 1919.
Great
They don't
grandfathers.
visit
Yeah.
back and forth. They're
No,
like
and even the people in the town keep to themselves. You know, I just noticed, you know, the families kind of clan together, and they know other family members, but there's not necessarily a big
unless you go to that
interaction.
church. The
Well,
churches are kind of clan together too.
Right. But
And-
see, they weren't church goers, you know, regular church
Well, Tony
goers.
grew up in a Lutheran church, but his dad went to a Presbyterian church, and his
Right.
mother was Christian Science. And so I think now she is more
She's
Lutheran or
accepted
something.
the Lord now and has,
yeah.
she's not doing that anymore.
Right, that is correct. But when you have that kind of variety in your background, and to them, I'm a churchgoer if I go Easter Sunday and
Right,
Christmas and
right.
Thanksgiving and, you know, a few special holidays that you go.
Right.
And that's the way a lot of people feel. And that's good that they go then more than, but you know, there are other times that you can be an influence for people in addition to family reunions when you go with what you dress. I think sometimes we here in the South are getting much too liberal in the way we go to church. We dress sometimes. I see them now on Sunday morning with jeans on. Sometimes it's maybe they've gained a little weight, but the jeans are getting a little tight or whatever. And we're not as careful with our Christian witness with the way we're wearing
That's
our
right.
clothes in church. And I think
In makeup, I got convicted about that myself, and I've really tried to tone it down, you know.
well, you're saving half the money if
I
you're wearing
know,
only
I
half
know.
as much makeup.
Save
I
lots
think
of
it
money
looks-
every month on lip liner.
I think it looks a lot better. Of
Yeah.
course, that's a mother's opinion. She loves her daughter real natural looking,
Right.
you know. And but I didn't say anything, did I? That was a major accomplishment.
That's true. You're learning. Those fruits are getting bigger every day.
I got a long ways to go there.
I got lots of vineyard to plant.
So I think that, what do you think the major thing you learned from being back with your family? How do you understand your dad more? Is there a way?
Well, let me put it this way. They don't talk much. And they have 2 houses that are built together. The one uncle lives on the one side of the house, and the other uncle lives on the other side of the house. And I would go to one uncle and say, well, just try to small talk, just talk. And then at about 2 minutes, he'd say, well, I need to go get the mail. And then I would go to sing, okay, we'll just, wash our hands, go to the next side. Started talking to him, and he says, well, I think I'm going to go get the mail. And then finally it dawned on me about 5 minutes later, it's Sunday. There isn't mail. They're just not used to,
You're
talking.
the first girl in 83 boys. They're not used
They're
to
not
it.
used to it, yeah. And it was really amazing just to see the differences, it was hard to communicate with. And they don't talk.
And they love you.
They love me. They kept trying to feed me.
That's
Pie,
the way,
ice cream
don't
cake.
you know that's the way families show they love you. It's
right.
by offering you...
Well, there's more of me to love this week than
you kept eating the pie and the cake and the Pennsylvania Dutch people are known for their wonderful cooking. And I know before Tony's mother fell that she probably had a freezer full of cakes and pies.
Still does. They have an extra freezer. Plus, they have tables with the food lined out. Plus, they have a basement downstairs packed with food.
They call it a cellar, even though the cellar is ground level with the... in that house, they've lived in it since 1919 and had that family going and the business going. But that house is probably there since the 1800s because a lot of the Pennsylvania Dutch homes, the walls are like 36 inches thick.
Wow.
And they're what we would call the basement or the cellar area. It's 4 floors high. That cellar area, you go out, that's ground level.
Right.
And then they had beautiful roses and things. They own that whole block there, and they have rental houses out there. And
I didn't
and they
know
have like bees, honeybees, and
everything.
apple trees and things like that. And then they have a cabin where they raise the apples. And they raise actually quite a bit of the things they eat there.
I learned a lot of things not only about Dad and why he is the way he is.
What'd you learn? Well, he's real conservative, and I'm real flamboyant.
And just his quiet, gentle manners, And I kind of, even though I'm kind of loud and outspoken at times, I have an inward calmness and quietness about me.
Like him.
And now I
always known
understand that. I see me better. It was just a really mind-opening thing. And
everybody needs to go back to their roots. Now, I think it's very good that we're able to do that. You're able to do that because you can go back to the house where your dad lived and grew up. Now, I can't. Where I grew up, my parents had bought a farm at a different location, and then of course my dad died and my mother sold the farm, so I don't have, even though my mother's still living, and I can go back and see family pictures and remember things, still the house is not there's not any familiarity in that house. So it's more difficult for me to see bits and pieces of my childhood than it is for him. He can go and his room where he grew up is actually, the beds are in the same location, the furniture in the same location as it was before.
Well, I just found out that there are reasons that people are like they are. And, that's not always obvious. It might take 100 years of digging and looking back into the past
You don't have too many
figure
100
out.
years to do that.
Well, I'm just saying, that
If
we
we could
can't assume, well, they're doing this because of that, or they're this way because of that. We really don't know. I don't know what happened in the Nazi prison camp, when
Bobby
they
was
went
there.
through that. Yeah. And now that I can, as an adult, see it better, I can better minister to them. I did speak of God, and I did speak of Jesus and the Lord, but it was more through my what I did and my love that I showed them and my acceptance of them. And they saw in me that even though, God knows I've been down 1,000,000 times, but they saw me getting back up again and going on. And I think that just blew them away. I really know
all
they
you
saw
have to do is
a Christian
get up
testimony.
one more time, then you're kicked
Doesn't mean
out.
you're going to, preach the Bible to them every day. It just means you're going to tell them Jesus loves them and show them that Jesus loves them. You just have to be really sensitive and know that just because your mind hadn't figured it out doesn't mean that it isn't figured out. God
I want to do
knows.
one wild and crazy thing,
Oh,
if
no.
Shirley can stand it, before we leave. On family reunions, you always get these family reunion pictures, and if Shirley can do it, I don't know if the light is good
We
enough.
only have about 2 or 3 more minutes.
I know it. That's how I
Okay.
thought we'd end our program.
Oh,
Is
brilliant
show them how to
ideas.
stand. So we're going to, if you'll help me, we'll just move this over a little
Sure.
bit. And if Shirley can do that, we're going to stand right over there, walk right over there. I think we can do it.
Okay.
And you show them how, just walk, take one step
right.
over, right here.
you see
Don't go
it?
too far. And we're
Okay.
going to show you now, when you are having your, come over closer, your family reunion pictures, stand
am
at an
taller than
angle.
you
Yes,
now.
that's right. Stand at an
fatter.
angle, and you will see that your shoes, put your feet at an angle too when you have that family reunion picture made, and then you're going to look 10 pounds slimmer, and it's going to be so much fun. They're going to think you were at Powers Modeling School.
That's right.
And they'll not only will what you say look beautiful and what you think and the love of Jesus show, but you'll actually look younger, and they'll say, I don't know what it is about you, but you look so terrific. Excuse me for spitting in your face.
That's okay.
I
I was really hot anyway, so fan it away.
Okay, so if you want to learn now, and remember when you step away, now we're going to step back to our seats and show you how to sit down. So you turn, you pivot on your feet. Now this is really going to be fun. You pivot on your, I better pivot the other way.
Pivot the other
Take,
way.
Yes, and come over
So you
to
just
the,
turn like this.
now if you can notice, when you sit down and at your family reunion picture, you lower yourself to the sofa or wherever you're going to be, and then you scoot back. And if you probably can't see us cross our legs, but if you do cross your legs, you have your feet and legs at an angle close together, and that if you're going to have that dress on, or even if you have the jeans on or the shorts, you're still going to look more slender if you do this. And it's fun to have fun. And they'll wonder where you learned it, and you can say, I learned it at Victory Network. You never know what you're going to learn at Victory Network.
It just makes you look so much more poised and graceful without having to say, I'm graceful. It just
That's
kind of
right.
shows that.
And you can, oh, it's going to be so fun. Do it. Do it and let me know what they thought about your family reunion pictures.
That's
I
right.
want to see those pictures.
Yes.
So, and if you'd like Emily to come and talk about going to Russia, she'll do that too. I'm volunteering her. She doesn't know I'm going to say that. But she's going to Russia to take 1 million Bibles. They've already shipped 300,000 and the rest of them. And we thank all of you for the donations that have come for that. Praise the Lord.
Send your contribution to Victory Network.
That's right. And bless your heart for watching. Call us at 461-8148 if you have prayer.
In your heart and give him praise, and give him praise. Come into his presence with thanksgiving in your heart. Your voices raised, your voices raised. Give glory and honor and power unto him. Jesus, the name above all names. Come into his presence with thanksgiving in your heart and give him praise. Praise. Come into his presence with thanksgiving in your heart. Your voice is raised. Your voice is raised. Glory and honor and power unto him. Jesus, the name above all names. Come on, let's praise him.
You're watching the Dream Network, the real estate channel.
Hello, I'm Sandra McNabb.
Hi, I'm Mike Sweeney.
Hi, I'm Robert Lane.
And I'm Pam Carlton. We're the hosts of the Dream Network, Huntsville's first cable TV real estate channel. To have your home advertised on this channel, call one of these participating real estate agencies today.
A home with distinctive character. This one is a charmer, full of those little touches that make it special. In a fully developed but new neighborhood, this 3-bedroom home has a backyard fence, is 2 stories, with a magnificent fireplace. Inside, the huge living room and dining room is fully carpeted, with windows strategically placed for beautiful natural light, and offset by the enchanting white mantle surrounding the impressive fireplace. A breakfast nook overlooks the backyard, just off the spacious country kitchen. Lots of cabinets. The stove, oven, dishwasher, and microwave are all in easy reach. A kitchen designed for easy movement and economy. The laundry room is just steps away. A touch of the country in the city of Madison. A perfect home to grow with. This lovely Williamsburg Cape Cod home in Madison features many amenities conducive to living life with flair and style, including a workshop with 400-amp electric service. Distinctive Williamsburg wallpaper decorates the formal dining room in a truly elegant manner. A U-shaped kitchen with plenty of cabinets makes this kitchen a pleasure to cook in. There's a Jenn-Air range and breakfast nook. The family room features a fireplace with an old-fashioned mantel, also built-in bookshelves. The room above the garage has cathedral beam ceilings. Comparing this home with others, it would be difficult to beat the price.
This, like brand new container